Well, we are joined now by Nola native comedian Rosie Tran. She was a finalist on Last Comic Standing. She has her own reality show, a very successful podcast, and she has toured around the world with the USO. But now she is back home to headline a show at Comedy House Nola. Hey, Rosie.
Hi, Shelby.
Well, thank you so much for joining us. I love that you're coming back home to do a show for us after you've been around the world touring and things. I'd love to ask you, though, just about how you got started in comedy, because you grew up here in New Orleans, and if there's little girls watching, how did you get started in that and continue on with it?
So I actually started, my boyfriend at the time wanted to be a comedian, and I used to go to all of his shows with him and rewrite his jokes.
So I'm like, all right, he's not that funny.
Exactly. I was like, it's funnier if you say it like this, honey. And he's like, well, if you're so funny, why don't you write 5 minutes? And I was like, okay. So I wrote 5 minutes. We ended up breaking up. I'm not with him any longer, but I was like, I think I'm going to keep doing comedy.
Really?
Yeah.
That is such a fun story. So you have certainly kept doing comedy, and you seem to be having a lot of fun with it.
Yeah, I love it.
What has it been like to tour all over doing this thing that you kind of just fell into?
Oh my God, it's been amazing. The most meaningful thing I did was perform for the troops. I went to Iraq and Afghanistan and Kuwait, and it was amazing. I have soldiers come up to me all the time after shows and say, oh my God, the comedians that come and perform for us, they literally save lives. Like, that comedy show is what kept me alive, thinking of the jokes and thinking of the funny stories that you guys tell. So that's really meaningful.
Wow, that is really powerful. And the power of laughter is one of those things that can get people through a lot. So that's really sweet. You grew up here in New Orleans. Tell me about growing up, and tell me about your family. What do they think of you doing comedy now?
Well, growing up in New Orleans was the best place for a Vietnamese girl, because if I were growing up anywhere else, I have my lunchbox and I'm like pulling out fish and stuff, right? Like, that's weird. But in New Orleans, you know, the kid next to me is pulling out oysters and shrimp and crawfish and nutria. So it's like, I definitely felt like I fit in, and my parents are really proud of me. They're so excited, and you know, they really are supportive.
Yeah, absolutely. So I mentioned your family because we actually had your sister on the show. She is an author. Yes. Daughters of the New Year was one of our amazing Nola Now book club picks. It's available at the New Orleans Public Library. And so she came on, and it was really cool because I feel like, I don't know you exactly because it was a fictional book, but I feel like I know some things about your family, but maybe I don't, you know?
Me too. So her book was fiction, but it was based off of, I think, obviously every author bases their life off of what they know. So there's a couple tidbits about me in there.
Were there things you're reading and you're like, I cannot believe she included?
A little bit. I was like, wait a minute, this is fiction? I was like, that sounds like me.
That character sounds a lot like me. So I'm sure you have some fun with that. Do your shows include any jokes about family or about your growing up here in New Orleans?
Oh, definitely. I talk a lot about being Vietnamese. I talk a lot about growing up in New Orleans. You know, a lot of people don't know that much about Vietnamese people, but a lot of people in New Orleans know about Vietnamese culture. Like, they've had pho. Have you had?
Yes, of course I've had fun. We love it. And we have such a vibrant, wonderful Vietnamese community here in New Orleans. And so you're right. I think a lot of people are at least familiar with it here in New Orleans. So coming back to do a show here, how does that feel?
Oh, it's amazing. I love coming here, all of my friends and family, and hopefully new fans come out and see me. And so that's what's really important, is coming back and to the place that's home. I mean, I live in Los Angeles now. I've traveled the world, but New Orleans is always home. And everyone that's from New Orleans knows New Orleans is always home.
New Orleans is always home. That's so true. How can folks get tickets to come out and see you? And when's the show?
The show is this Thursday at 7 p.m. at Comedy House Nola, and the website, Comedy House Nola, has the tickets. My website, rosietran.com, has links to all the tickets.
Amazing. Rosie, thank you so much for joining us. I really appreciate it.